Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
Tony,
This is Reverend Al
Los
Sharpton.
Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came here to New York a couple days ago. Had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice. So I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out.
You know what time it is. It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's is time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, all front. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to those listening to Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. Well, it's Exhale Friday. This is the first Friday of the new year. A lot has happened while some of you tuned out. Doesn't mean the world stops moving. And whether it be the continued negotiations between Israel and break new ground, other than President Trump reiterating his loyalty to Netanyahu, who, by the way, stayed for New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago. And then we saw the back and forth on Venezuela. Zelensky came to the White House. No, I'm sorry, he came to Mar-a-Lago, met with Trump, and said they were close to a peace deal. Then the next day, Trump, let me not speed, Trump said he had talked to Putin, Vladimir Putin of Russia, who seemed to want to make a deal. Then the next day, Putin said that the Venezuelans sent drones attacking one of his residences. And Venezuela said, we did no such thing. There's no evidence of that. What are you talking about? And then people started, in the media said, we can't find evidence. Trump said he believed Putin. And then he turned around yesterday and said there was no attack. So we see that on a global level is not happening. On the Venezuela front, they continue to try and bomb or take out boats. And it seems now that Maduro, the president of Venezuela, is saying, I'm not going to resign, but I am willing to talk. So there may be some backup there. It seems that Secretary of State Marco Rubio doesn't want to see that. He wants to go all the way in Venezuela and also take Cuba out. But who knows, if there's a transactional deal over oil, many feel, including yours truly, that Trump will go for the deal. And we see that a lot of GOP lawmakers are frustrated with the dysfunctional Congress, and they're headed for the exits. And we see reports where GOP lawmakers are fleeing for the exit in droves, many pointing to Congress that they argue has grown too dysfunctional and demanding schedules that leave little time for their families. So they out of here. I'm not doing this. It's not getting nothing done. And several Republicans have said that they're leaving. Mayor Mandani, and Mandani is now the mayor of New York, sworn in yesterday in freezing weather, and has hit the ground running. And certainly we have access to him, but we're going to keep him accountable. Also, SBA, thousands of pandemic-era loans in Minnesota have been suspended for suspected fraud. This government is trying to say that there was widespread fraud that Governor Walsh, who had ran as the running partner, for many of you would remember, what Kamala Harris did nothing about, and that's become a political hot potato in Minnesota. And we also are looking at, and I think, a grave issue where the Affordable Care Act expired night before last on midnight, December 31st, gone. It's going to directly affect about 23 million people in this country, many of them in red states, that the premiums are going to go sky high now. They will double, triple, where people can't afford health care. And unless the Congress can come back in, and they're supposed to be back in next week, and do something right away and then make it retroactive, people are just out there, and these premiums are going to hit them, and it's out. That is the top of the list of my concerns. And everything I've said, I'm concerned. But I'm clearly very concerned about that. And all of this and more we need to talk about today. I always tell people that it's good to have holidays, but take a day or two. It's good to have holidays, but take an hour or two to check in and make sure that you're on top of the news. A lot of people didn't know what was going on, Affordable Care. I was talking to people this morning, and they said, what, they did that? Yeah. While you were drinking eggnog and carrying on, they did let it expire. And your premiums are going up. And senior citizens and kids will be tremendously affected. And yes, there is a real concern about war in Venezuela, war in the Gaza, again, war in Ukraine. Yep, that happened. While you were singing jingle bells to a Santa Claus that you still think is coming down the chimney. And I think we need to be extremely serious about what is going on. We're approaching a decision soon by the Supreme Court on voting rights. If they take Section 2 out of the Voting Rights Act, which they've already neutralized 4 and 5, then in effect we have no voter protection, which is one of the real hallmarks that came out of the 60s civil rights movement of that era, because the civil rights movement started before that and it continues now. So there is a lot of concern as we head into the new year. Everything that was fought for, Civil Rights Act of 64, which grew into DEI, where it required that you show diversity in the private sector and the public sector, now is gone. This president has erased it. 65 Voting Rights Act, this Supreme Court could eliminate that, gone. So we are, with our eyes wide open, seeing them reverse everything those a generation or two of us accomplished. And some of us are not even a member of an organization, not even a supporter. Maybe, yeah, all right, you didn't go to none of the marches, you're not coming to none of the rallies. But you don't even quietly send $5, $10, $20 to people that's fighting for things that got you where you are. Reason you are able to live in that neighborhood you in and work at the job you work is because the barriers were brought down by civil rights groups, activist groups. Well, you know, I had the money. They had money then. Their money couldn't spend until the laws were changed. So let's talk about it first
Exhale Friday of this year. And let's get real about it. One thing I have encouraged people, many of you know I work out every morning. I do a morning thought, about 2 or 3 every morning. And one thing I encourage people is stop lying to yourself. If you're not doing nothing, admit that to yourself. You ain't got to get on radio and tell me, you know, Reverend Al, I've been delinquent. Admit to yourself, though, that you got a whole lot of complaining to do around the Christmas family table, but you are doing nothing. Not attending a meeting, not going to a rally, not sending in any contribution. You just watching the news take everything away from you and complaining like you talking to a TV set is going to change something. So let's talk about all that. I want to go to the phones a lot and messages today. It is Exhale Friday. I've said we need to straighten out all tricks in 26, and we are in 26. We passed the quarter of a century mark. And many of the things that we were on in the first part of the century, don't forget, we elected and re-elected a black president this century. We elected a black vice president this century. And we gonna let us get to this point and people just snatch from us the meat of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act? I don't think we ought to tolerate that. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real. Sharpton. Right after this.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising. But one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich Newton for bringing us back. Of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. No justice. No justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like my God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We're gonna shine and shade. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know I'm trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know I'm trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Rev, you know you were right there
From the
with
beginning.
the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at
Yeah.
that time, in
Yeah.
Howard Beach. You
Yeah.
were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, but I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself,
Yep.
Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now let me ask a question.
Yep.
What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair,
Yeah,
man.
you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. So we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday
The National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
Okay, where keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and this Exhale Friday, first Exhale Friday of 2026. And you can call in 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or go on our message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Woodrow Torrey wrote something replying to Demetrius Jones. I found interesting. It says, Demetrius Jones, I liked your comment. We were more together as a race in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and somewhere in the 80s we started thinking that we're doing this by ourselves. I would love for us to get back together. You know, it's an interesting point Woodrow is making off of Demetrius's point, because it's discussed and debated, and some of us totally agree, some don't. But I think that many of us, is my personal feeling, many of us, if not the majority of us, started feeling like we made it on our own and felt we didn't need each other anymore, didn't need a social justice movement or a civil rights movement. And the culture started shifting. I talk about this often. And the culture went from us and we and freedom kind of songs and even rap lyrics that were waking people's consciousness up when rap started, into all I, me, and let me self-indulge, self-engage. And I think that is absolutely what helped set a climate that we felt we was accomplishing on our own, and it was reinforced by a culture that now the hit records and movies and all was me, it doesn't matter. I over the holiday, we did, cloth feeding the homeless, doing our work. I did the show yesterday on Christmas Day, on New Year's Day. I did the show. And I really get a sense that a lot of us are detached from where we were in terms of the history of this country. And now that the country has said, okay, fine, y'all went back to sleep, pow, I'm going to give you an outright bigot that's not even going to hide what he's going to do, by the name of Donald Trump. He's not even hiding it. I mean, when I talk about Martin Luther King Day, this may be the last federal Martin Luther King Day holiday if we don't show them big numbers, because they want to release a whole file on him next year. He was going to release it, and we raised a little saying they're going to release it by the expiration dates next year, and they're going to try to smear him and remove that holiday. This may be the last one, which is why we need to make this one big and tell them we will not let them take the only federal holiday that blacks are the center of. But as long as we feel like if I got mine and everybody didn't get theirs, it's just tough, they're going to keep taking away DEI, which is your contracts and your jobs. Public health for education, which is your kids. On and on and on. All right, let me say by way of announcements, and I'm going to be dealing with all this tomorrow and Sunday on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Don't miss the first Politics Nation weekend of the year. I'll be on 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. Make sure you watch. I'm going to open up the year with a bang, and I'm going to have some of our elected officials and all, but I'm coming out swinging. My theme for 26 is we're going to straighten out all tricks in 26. It's midterm election year, a lot happening this year. Also, you that in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in the morning at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th and Lenox, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll be there giving my beginning of the year message, which is marching orders, not just oratorical splendor. I don't have to prove to nobody I can speak or preach. I'm going to be laying out this is what we're going to do, from our stockholders and going into meetings and our dealing with upholding these voting laws and our dealing with the, what are we going to deal with, the offset, what they've done now with the expiration of Affordable Care Act. Be there in the morning. If you're not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can go to nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, let's go to the phones. Sly in Detroit. Let's start with Sly. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Happy New Year, Reverend Al.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey, I'll start by saying you were bowling down my lane, and you mentioned about how people are cut, because it's like I've been all but beating my head against the wall. I have a few lady friends, and they're so glued to celebrity gossip and reality TV. And I try to tell them, you were absolutely right when you said an hour or two of news. I've always said an hour. I would tell my friends, catch the local evening news.
Right.
And then right after that, you catch the national news. Like I like NBC nightly news.
Right.
Yeah, so that way you will know not only what's going on in your community, but what's going on around the world and in politics. That's going to help you, because, Reverend Al, politics is in everything.
Right.
Politics is in the toilet paper that you use.
That's
because
right.
It has to be government approved.
That's right.
Okay. And you know, and it just gets frustrating, because they'll be like, well, I don't watch the news because it's too depressing. Well, there's crime and violence in celebrity gossip. The only thing that you don't get in celebrity gossip that you get in the news is a weather report. Okay? So that's that. And I also, Reverend Al, I want to be the first to wish you and Keeping It Real happy 20 years. And I hope we can get you for another 20 years of Keeping It Real.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I just wanted to throw some names out there, because some are no longer with us, like Andre Eglishan.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you had like Andre Eglishan.
Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me take the break and come back, because I want you to call the names, because these people worked in these 20 years and need our respect. So hold 1 minute. I'll come right back to you, Slide, and I'm going to everyone else on the phones. Keeping it real. Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
1, 2, 3, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, hey, got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Ah! Baby, oh, feeling, baby. Oh, hey, hey, oh. Baby, 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 baby. Come on, sing it out. Baby, baby, come on. Baby, baby, baby. Can't hear you. Hey, hey. I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We don't want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, at ACP, the Defense Force together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
King, Dr. Richardson, most of all, let me thank Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us all here together today in the Urban Action Network. I am proud to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America, but I am mindful that I wouldn't be here if it had not been for Reverend Al Sharpton running for president, and Carol Moseley Brown running for president, and Jesse Jackson running for president, and Shirley Chisholm running for president. They paved the way, and I stand on their shoulders.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
I celebrate the day you were born. You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
For over 3 decades, the National Action Network has stood on the front lines for our communities, fighting for justice, lifting up the voiceless, and showing up where it matters most. Presidents, world leaders, and global changemakers have all testified to Reverend Al Sharpton's impact and National Action Network legacy of good trouble in the fight for equality. This holiday season, our commitment grows even stronger. We're expanding food distributions, toy drives, and direct support for families who need us now more than ever. Stop right now and join the movement.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the 2 most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
know.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, Exhale Friday. Let's go back to Sly in Detroit. Sly?
Yes, sir. Going back before I drop those names, I always tell black people if you are black and you say you don't do politics, politics will do you.
Wow.
But moving on, I mentioned Brother Eggleston and Dr. Ogletree, Bob Slade, and George Curry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna go way back to the early days because there are two people I wanted to know if they're what they're up to these days. I remember in the early days of Keeping It Real, you used to have a guy that would come on at the end of the week, and he would do your astrology. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember his name.
I'm trying to remember his name.
See that goes back, and like I said, I'm hoping
Oh,
for another
wow.
time.
I got to ask for Team, our senior producer who's been with us from day one. He would know.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the guy's face and can't call his name. I know exactly what you're talking about. And he's still alive as far as I know.
Good.
I think it's Lloyd Strahan. Is that his name?
I can't
All
say.
right. Let me check it. Let me check it.
Okay. And whatever became of Mary Pat Hector? We watched her grow up on radio.
In fact, that's how we met her. She called the radio show and said that they were fighting crime, I think it was, in violence up in Stone Mountain. She was a teenager.
Yes.
She grew up.
Yes, sir.
Was at Atlanta for a while, then went on to college and other things. I've not seen or heard from her in the last couple of years, but I would assume I would have, if something was wrong, I would know. But she was a great activist and started right on this show. That's true.
Absolutely. Well, salute to you and salute to your show.
All right. Blessings to you. Thank you. Sly must have been with us the whole ride to go back to Andre Eggleston and the astrologer. So you've been with us the whole 20 years. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Yessie in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. Yessie, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Glad to have you here with us. One more calendar cycle, General Al.
Yes, sir.
I got a weird question for you today, though. What do you think it would take for us to get all media, all the new internet things, all the basic 3 television networks we grew up with, all these new fringe Foxes and PDLs and whatever other names they have. What do you think it would take to get all of them to broadcast a meeting at the White House of 100 chosen delegates from each state that are melanated and indigenous to this land, not from another land and you're black or you got melanin in you. Your ancestors came from this land. They have grit on this earth for generations. What would it take to televise that?
Well, first of all, when you say a meeting at the White House, you talking about a meeting that Trump would allow to have, or you talking about outside?
That's a good question. Because if they are, it would be a form of protest, but it would be a form of protest that would actually indicate it's possible for us to govern ourselves on the land that we were either stolen to or had stolen from us.
And how would this gathering demonstrate that we can govern the land?
How would that gathering do what, sir?
How would this gathering, if we were able to do such a gathering and have all the media, How would that prove that we can govern the land? Because we had a meeting of 100 people from every state, and we had all the media. How does that prove we can govern the lands we come from?
Well, the proof is that we come from this land, or the proof is we could organize to come to address those who we feel are not properly governing with our interests in mind. I don't feel that the United States government is our government. I don't feel the general population, whether black or white, feels the Constitution equitably speaks of us. I don't feel history accurately talks about things that happened to bring us to this particular point in history. But the media is controlled by someone other than the people who were on this continent before Christopher Columbus. So the media right now is our only safe tool to address this. Politics goes with it, but politics shouldn't look the same after we do this.
I understand that, but I can't agree with it until you explain it to me. How is it going to change things? What are we going to do that's going to change things other than we have another meeting? If we could put the meeting together, what has to happen in the meeting that would change things?
First part is how we put the meeting together, who we're looking for to put the meeting together, and that we put it together. I'm not trying to be evasive, but I'm saying this. That meeting is not for the sake of just meeting. We have to step up with the people, the melanated people that will step up and represent that is who we are, and not represent ourselves necessarily trying to be citizens of the United States of America, because they have not had our best interests in mind. They have not changed their constitution concerning whatever 3/5 of a black person means, and they have shown that they do not want us to have peace.
No, all of that is well and good, but what I'm saying is, if I stepped out there, and if I asked others to step out there that have organized places, and said that we want to do this, 100 blacks from each state, none of which were born anywhere other than here, and we want all of us to go to Washington. That's 50 states represented.
Televised.
Wait. I didn't get there yet. That we want to have this meeting, right? They're going to say, okay, Rev Mal, how does this meeting generate where we can govern? Or how is it just another meeting outside the White House? And I say, well, we're going to get the TV and the radio and all of them involved. And they're going to ask, okay, fine. Then what is coming out of this? Why y'all there? To say we govern. We want to govern. Govern how? And why did you exclude people from the Caribbean and Africa and all that? You got to be able to answer all that. You're talking to somebody that has done many huge marches in Washington. And I'm not, 100 people from 50 states, 5,000 people. We brought 300,000. And you have to be specific to even get people interested. I hear where you want to go, but you got to help me get there. And think it out, yes, and call me back. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Evidence that I take, you will be there. Evidence that I make, we'll be together. Evidence that I take, you will be there. Evidence that I make, we'll be together. Evidence that I take.
Whew. Thank you so much. I was thinking I was going to prepare a speech, but I can't read those things anymore. Name's Babyface, not Baby Body. But I wanted to, you made me sound so good with those words. I was like, that was me? I was like, when I look at my life and I think of the music in everything that I've done. I used to say that I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the words come from. I don't know where the music comes from. I don't know how I got here where I am, but that's not true. God got me here. This is and it becomes more clear to me every day that why I'm here. And I don't even know how I ended up standing here, except for the fact that I ran into Al at the Essence. He was walking in the room, and I said, I got to go say hello. And he said, I want to honor you. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, I want to honor you. I said, really? Yep. And here I am standing here, and I can only thank you. I always want to do this, Michael. I love you too. Sorry. But I think of moments like this, I can't help but just think of how proud my mom would be for me to standing here. I have to say that just to be standing here and to be invited by Al Sharpton, and I want you guys to really think about this man who invited me here and how he has been fighting the fight for us all of these years. I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think we give him enough love. Sometimes you just get used to people and you think, well, that's just Al. No. He's more than that. I want y'all to give him really love. Come on, let's give him. It's very true. Because I can remember times, I'm 67 years old, I can remember times in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, it's true, I'm 67. And I can remember times in Indianapolis when I was growing up, and there were places before I was 5 years old that I could not go to because I was black. And I remember how civil rights, how that changed everything for me and for my life, and that I'm standing here today because of all of those changes, and I was able to do the kind of music that I do and do everything because of those things happened. And so for me to accept an award like this, because I've never gotten an award like this before, and so I really appreciate it, and I'm just so thankful, and I thank my mom for giving me the sense to always be humble with my life, and to never think that it's all about me. And so like I said, I didn't prepare a speech. I always just wanted to speak from my heart. And I'm speaking from my heart, and I want to tell you once again, Al Sharpton, you are a blessing to us all, and I thank you for inviting me for this, and thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
1968. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network for always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream.
dead.
I'm here because I must be here. Democracy is not there for the pig, and you have to fight for democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
Is the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
That I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
I'll tell you that.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't have worked. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first and we'll be last. We know who we are. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? Yeah. All right, then, keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. It is Exhale Friday. Let's go to Bob in Portland, Oregon. Bob.
Happy New Year, Reverend Sharpton.
Happy New Year back at you.
This is Bob out of transplanted from North Philadelphia. Went in the Air Force and ended up here in Portland.
All
the
right.
last 65 years. I go back and listen to all your program when we call you Big Al. But it's just a couple recommendations. I chaired the Labor for Jackson campaign in '88.
Okay.
And then I chaired the Labor for Obama campaign and went to the convention.
Okay.
I just want to make a couple recommendations from our success. If you call a program Operation Big Vote and have 10 negative objectives of this Republican administration and 10 positive that help all folks. People will listen. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Because see, I think the problem is in messaging is you have to spell out to people what this column does and what this column does, so it makes sense to them on the ground. I think too many times we talk above the political understanding of the average person, because the average person is not into politics, but they have to live as a result of the politics. Is Bob still with me?
In labor, they acknowledge, and that's why they voted for him. We got almost 40% of the vote out here in Oregon for Reverend Jackson in '88. And then when we presented a similar operation program for Senator Obama, people, it was a success. So, and then the other point I want to make, my family, my grandmother, my great aunt, and my mother come out of Edgefield, South Carolina.
Wow, that's where my great-grandfather was a slave.
That's right, and their name, family name there was Wooden.
Wooden.
That was the Wooden family.
Spell it.
And I plan to go down. I'm 86, so I'm still planning to go down there. But I had no idea when people were talking about South Carolina about North Augusta. I said, what are you talking about North Augusta? North Augusta is in South Carolina.
That's right.
So, I've been doing my research.
Well,
Reverend, I've been following you for the last 20 years.
Well, let me tell you this, Bob. Wow, this is really interesting. Now, Edgefield was where my great-grandfather they found was a slave at a plantation there. When I went down, wait a minute, let me tell you this point. When I went down to see where they had won, when the newspapers told me this, when I went down years before, and James Brown had taken me and his son, helping my youth group, his manager had a heart attack, and James Brown asked me to stay a few months to help with him on the road because he trusted that I wouldn't take his money. I said, I don't know nothing about managing showbiz. He said, no, just collect the money and bring it to me. And he got me a house to stay in North Augusta. I mean, it's real interesting you said that. North Augusta, South Carolina, right across the bridge from Augusta, and right down the road from Beach Island, South Carolina, where James Brown had his mansion. So, I mean, you really blew my mind when you said North Augusta, because very few people know about North Augusta. But I lived in North Augusta for a few months.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's what I keep following. We could be family.
Probably are. If your kinfolk was in Edgefield and my great grandfather was, Edgefield ain't that big, and the slaves had to know each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I want to wish you a happy New Year, Reverend Sharpton, and I'm gonna keep on listening to you and supporting you. But what I do with Operation Big Vote, I contact my family, then I network all the other organizations, and that's how we got a good result. So I just want to pass on that idea.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, and thanks for being with us. Stay with us. But I like that Operation Big Vote. That's very good. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Spencer in Little Mountain, South Carolina. Little Mountain, South Carolina. Spencer.
Hey, Reverend Al, thank you very much. Look, Reverend Al, I'm going to throw a question at you. And, okay, here it goes. What is the spirit of America? Because you seldom hear that now. So what is, or what definition, or what can a person line themselves up with the thought of feeling spiritually or physically the spirit of America?
I think that's a difficult question because I think there are conflicting spirits. I think that you have a spirit of white supremacy in some, and they're sincere about that. You have a spirit of others saying we need to have our rights, whether they be African American, whether they be Latino, whether they be immigrants, whether they be LGBTQ. I mean, they're conflicting spirits. I don't think there's one spirit in America.
Okay, now, I'm glad you said that. But now look at this. I was invited over to this white guy family came in from out of town, and he invited me over to his house briefly. But let me tell you something. Nat King Cole was singing the song Chestnuts, roasting on open fire. And it came to me that Nat King Cole, of course, is a black man, but white folks, they love that song at Christmas time.
Right.
Now, wait a second. Now, I thought about when Whitney Houston was playing with America Beautiful, and the way she made them runs, I'm telling you, people was totally dumbfounded.
Right.
Now, it's something about if everybody or most folks can settle on a certain definition of feeling. Now, just put a point there. I was looking at Mandani of swearing in.
Right.
And the spirit hit me that this is how America should be. See, we can come up with all type of ways to keep us split, and that's how you was talking about slavery and all that stuff. That's how the man got us to where we don't know what to do unless somebody holler out and start pointing where we could go march or we can get together, something like that. But every once in a while, there's something that comes up that make America individuals feel collectively. And Mandani, whoever his name is, his being sworn in as mayor of New York, I can see it in the people's faces. Somebody gonna be in trouble because this spirit is gonna keep on. What do you call it? Multiplying. Somebody gonna be in trouble.
If we stay in that spirit and it multiplies, and because there's a difference between a temporary feeling and a spirit, and I think that you're right. Whitney had them for a moment, but they walked out of there and didn't have that same spirit 2 or 3 days later. And Nat King Cole had them for a moment, chestnuts roasting on the open fire in the 50s. But Nat King Cole still couldn't sit in the front of the bus. So that's why I said to you, it's conflicting broad spirits. I think that you're absolutely right, though, that we have to get on the right spirit and sustain it. We had a great spirit at all of our marches, but then we go home and in a week or two, we go on to something else. We had a great spirit at the marches we had with George Floyd 5 years later. A lot of those groups are gone. We had a great spirit in the Million Man March. So, I mean, we need to have the spirit and be committed to where we're consumed with the spirit so we don't reduce it to just some freak feeling, but that it's real spiritual that engulfs us and lives in us and we live in it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Everett Stevenson is saying amen. Pastor Al Sharpton. Again, Jesus will warn you again about your secret place and all those black women again and might need to zip that one up. I don't know what he's talking about, but I read it. I don't know what black women, well, okay, I read it. Love for Route 2. People love winners. Detroit and New York's new mayors are both winners. I agree with that. I think that's a great statement you're making because you got to show people we can win something. People don't like to keep fighting and never see a victory. You need a victory. And for Mary Sheffield, who I've known since she was a little girl, I talked to her daddy yesterday, Reverend Horace Sheffield, and I came along together. For For Mary Sheffield to win in Detroit, strong, bright black woman. For Zoran Mandani to be now mayor of New York is hopeful that we're not out here not just doing things. One of the things that, as we approach the 35th anniversary of National Action Network, that I'm emphasizing is what we've done. We're going to have the convention there April 8th through the 11th. So people that are traveling around the country, start planning now to get here April 8th through the 11th, or whatever days you can. I'm going to talk about how we changed laws on racial profiling, how we stopped stop and frisk, how we made corporations sign memorandum of understanding. All of this, of what we won, not that we just was. We ain't a bingo club. Is what we won. We helped restore the Voting Rights Act twice. Now we fighting again, which helped Obama win and helped Kamala Harris. We can talk about what we won, and we can say Mary Sheffield keeps us going, and I think we'll do a good job. Same thing with Mandani. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
It's time for a new course. A new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex. A new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't cry about what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David. Took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent.
I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak to of me, of National Action Network and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time, and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly. The two people that most influenced my
life from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And where I knew Jesse was from James, I started Brother.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helped push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, do you know that my great grandmother was enslaved about 40 because we go right up the road.
You're live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton. It's XL Friday. Whatever's on your mind. Whatever's in your heart. 1-877-532-5797. Let me go to labor leader extraordinaire in Detroit, Michigan, Brother Percy. Percy, you're keeping it real on XL Friday.
Hey, Reverend Mal.
Yes, sir.
Man, thanks for taking my call, my brother. Thanks for taking my call. I didn't hear your opening today on your radio show, but I definitely heard your opening or your remarks for our morning thoughts, right?
Yes, sir.
And your morning thoughts, man. This. So that's not the first time you was really talking about being concerned about your circle and making sure that you know yourself and you doing you don't let people sway you to what you feel your calling is and what your purpose is. So last year I was going through that, and your conversations that you were having all through last year about that, really helped me to be where I'm at now, man. And thank you, Rev Man. Thank you, Rev Man.
Well, thank you.
I'm calling you Point Man, man. You the Point Man, Rev Man. you the Point Man. You in front of it, man, and guiding us the right way where we need to go, to where we can make a difference and be productive out here with lifting people up, man. And there's one thing I know for sure, man, is my calling. And my calling is truly the unconditionalness of making sure that we lifting our people up and they get civically engaged. So I'm gonna ask you a question too when I get through about the 28th. But I've been calling you because I've been off since the 19th on what my civic part will be for the upcoming for this year, and I go back on the 5th. And here's a real strategy that I'm really impressed with what SEIU is doing. And they put me in a position where I got a certain territory of Wayne County, Macomb County, and Oakland County of working with the home care workers. It's a block of about 15,000 of them in that area, and we'll be reaching out to them to get civically engaged. So this upcoming month, we'll be doing a survey with them to find out the distinct things that they want in the contract. Because last year they voted, they got the union back, and now we're getting ready to bargain for a contract for them in this year 2026. So we need to know though, certain things that they're gonna want in this contract, which we know. Right off the date, they definitely, I think, they want to increase the pay. They want some help. How you going to be a health care worker in the health department and you don't have health benefits? So that's something that's definitely got to be in their contract. And they looking for, as they get older, be able to go out with a pension and stuff. But here's the other part. So the funding, in order for them to have a good contract, it comes from the elected officials that are in our state capital.
Right.
They the ones, and people got to understand the role of how all this work clicks together to the people that you put in office
are the ones that bring the funding back to your community if you put the right people in office to give you the funding. So they'll be, once we get the at least the 5 to 10 issues that they should be wanting in their contract, we'll be approaching the elected officials to make sure that they are signed on, that they will support that, and we're going to know that by March. And if the ones who don't want to support what we asking for in March, we got a primary coming up in August. We're going to be letting these folks know, y'all don't want to support this stuff. We're going to find candidates that will support what we asking folks. So come November, we're going to be putting, if y'all don't ratify this, give us the funding by November, we're going to make sure we're going to put the right people in office to give us a return in our investment that we spend, that we put into the system through our tax bracket. So that's going to be a project for me in 2026. But here's the other part that's going to be a project for me. I got to come up with a talking way of encouraging people why they need to get civically involved and voting and being civically engaged. And I want to run this conversation by you, my new talking point of why I feel it's important that people should vote and get involved civically.
All right.
And here it is, because it's got to be quick. The money that you're spending every time that you are being taxed, that is money that goes into the system.
Right.
That's what funds our government system, and that's what puts money into the bracket. Now, if you fool around and don't participate and vote, you're allowing somebody else to take that funding and put it in things that's taken away from you and your community. So that's why it's important that you pay attention to who's in office, and they're going to give you a return of the money that you're spending every day when you get taxed that goes into the system that funds the community.
Right. That's a great talking point, because I don't think people make the connection. People look at their statement and their taxes are taken out of their paycheck, or if they're in business, the accountant tells them, and they never think about. I think we think so much about, oh, Lord, the taxes are going up or taxes going down or they're taking this much out of my check, and never think about, but that's the money they're spending to do government services, works, and all of that. And if I'm not getting the equal services, then what am I paying for? For others?
Yeah. And here's the deal. Here's something else I didn't notice, Rev Mel, and I'm pointing out to my. So I'm in Wayne County. Wayne County is kind of a thriving, struggling community, right? And then now I live in an area that's Troy, that's in Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, around that area, and those areas have the good, strong schools. Those areas have the good businesses. Those areas are getting good services. And when you look at the turnout of how they vote in the 70% or better. And when you look at the areas who are getting only 20%, 30% of voting participation, those are the areas that are struggling, because the people that are voting good are putting people in office that's bringing money back to their community. And they taking away from the people who are not participating, because they're not showing up demanding that they put the right people in office that's going to bring the resources in their community. And that's proof right there for you, And they the one, so where I'm at in Troy right now, they don't have, they have strong public schools. These kids that are going to our public schools in the Troy area are getting all the resources and getting good funding in their schools that are, I'm sorry, okay.
Hold on a minute. Let me take my break. I'll come back.
Okay.
Keeping it real. Sharpton. Exhale Friday. 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
$5,000.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length and and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not going to throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We've got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive.
Yes, sir.
There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had
now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
You're loud, sir.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797. And don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I'm live. I'm no vacation. Live tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And among my guests this weekend is going to be Congresswoman Gwen Moore out of Wisconsin and Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, who's a Democrat out of Washington. But I want to ask her as head of Armed Services about all this going on in Venezuela and all, and Gwen Moore about the Epstein files and what's going on in terms of voter ID. I'm going to have the mayor of Los Angeles on, Mayor Karen Bass. Last Saturday, we had Mayor Brandon Johnson. This week, I want to have the mayor of L.A. And what the ruling to get the National Guard out, how does this affect the deportation damage they did? Where do we go from there? And the fact that the recovery from the wildfires. I was out there, Alameda and other places, as well as federal assistance. And we'll have the mayor. We have a lot of people you need to have. There's a black woman that won in Iowa, Renee Hardman. I'm going to have her on. In Iowa now. She won a state Senate seat. I'm going to have her on this weekend. Don't miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. All right, let me go back to Brother Percy in Detroit. Go ahead, Percy.
Yeah. So yeah, Reverend Al, so our talking points, when we having our conversation with the generation younger than us that, where, folks died for us to be able to have the right to vote, for us to be civic involved. And, we would, had the Jim Crow law. They don't get that because they didn't go through it. And it's important that we gotta connect with them to where they are now. So, I mean, we done heard it. We got a generation that woke up with President Obama being the black president. So they don't understand how we took it, how we were so overwhelmed and overjoyed of first having someone in those positions. So it's natural for them. So for me, I just feel we got to talk to them to where we can bring it home to understand why civics is so important, that you get involved with it so you can just get a return of what the interest of what you are investing in the system with the dollars that you're putting in it. If you don't take time and really push and demand for certain things to come back to your community from these elected officials that you have a choice of putting in office or not, you're going to hurt yourself or benefit yourself. Because it's always going to be the oppressors who are out here now, who I feel are empowered now, who have always going to go out to oppress people and try to thrive, to capitalize, to gain their wealth off of oppressing people. But the folks who feel like we feel, that they truly believe in when we pledge allegiance that one nation under God, to where we can have liberty and justice for all. This is our cry and this is our push, and this is why we have to participate to push back. Because if you don't push what you want, the other people are going to push what they want, and they're going to go out to always harm you instead of helping. So let me ask you this. On the 28th, because I'm meeting with my UAW folks planning for the year 26, are we going to be in D.C. or are we going to be in New York?
We will probably make up our minds. And when I say we, I'm talking about Martin Luther King III and the National Action Network Board by King Day. And we'll announce it right after the holiday, which this year is on the 19th. Because, we do the breakfast in Washington, then we do Harlem for the policy conference. We'll announce it at one of them.
Okay, then, because
But hold that date. We're going to do something on the 28th. Believe me, last year we brought thousands to Wall Street, so we'll be doing something. But thank you for your call, and thank you for your service and leadership, Brother Percy. Let me say this, and I think it's important. Let me go. Forensic accountant brought up something. Says, shame on News Nation for only talking about Palisades fire. People are still suffering in Altadena. And I mentioned, thank you for that. I mentioned that I went to Altadena. People died in Altadena, and they're estimating, I'm going to talk to the Mayor Bass about it. So Altadena is not in L.A., but it was the same fire, and she dealt with some of it. This is a black town, a black village, town, whatever you want to call it, that formed itself decades ago because of they could not buy property in white L.A. One of the things that people don't understand, as we're in the 35th year of National Action Network, is that groups like NAN were rare in using civil rights tactics, not just protests, not just, you had some groups that were there doing nationalist stuff, which was great, and street corner rallies or in-the-house rallies, but outside marching and going to jail and civil disobedience, it was done sporadically. We kind of institutionalized that to change laws about housing, about being in the neighborhood, racial profiling laws and all. Altadena was founded because they could not buy property in certain places. And these blacks took the initiative on themselves to build a community. And they did. Self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and survived natural disasters. And the last one was that fire. We don't tell that story, going back to Percy's point. Every community, and I'm not talking off the hip here, I've studied this, tell their children and their children's children what their community, their race, their religion went through. And I don't understand it, maybe it's we trying to overcome the trauma and the psychic damage, but we don't want to tell our children our story. I talk to youngsters today and talk about Rosa Parks in the back of the bus, and I'm talking about young blacks. We really couldn't go to the front of the bus? Now, for those of us older, we say, you should know that. Well, why should they if we are not teaching that? I mean, we used to now jump on a plane, sit up in first class. We couldn't go to the front of the public bus by law. This was not a custom. Couldn't drink out of water fountain downtown. Couldn't use the bathroom. Couldn't eat in the restaurants. Couldn't stay in hotels. Now, If they understand, this is the advantage that others have because they tell their kids and their grandkids what they survived. Because it gives you a sense of responsibility to know that if I'm living a better life and I have more access, even though it's not equal, but it's better than what my blood grandparents went through, my blood parents went through, it gives me a responsibility to live up to appreciating that and using it wisely, and to understand how wicked some of these people are. They'll go back to this, which they're chipping away right now. But like Percy said, if you grew up at a time where President Obama was president, by the time you was 4 or 5 and knew what the president was, Obama was there 8 years. So if you was 5 and Obama was there 8 years, you 13 now, you don't know nothing but a black president. So you don't think it's a big deal until somebody tells you the story of Shirley Chisholm and Jesse Jackson. And if your mom and daddy won't tell you the story, and if they're taking black history out of the schools, who gonna tell you the story? The Irish kid know his story and why he needs to excel. Jewish kid know his story. Polish kid know his story. We don't tell our kids their story, so there's no responsibility. And then we get mad when they start cussing and using foul language because that's all they hear. And feel that's our history, and that we didn't do nothing. And the subliminal message, and I want y'all to really get this, the subliminal message is we're behind. We're behind in employment, we're behind in business, we're behind in home ownership because we are ignorant and stupid. No, we're behind because of institutional racism that we're trying to catch up. But if you don't explain that to your kids or grandkids, they just think we ain't as smart as everybody else. Think about that now. That's why I was saying this year, theme of the convention is we straighten our tricks in 26. They've tricked our kids into thinking less than what we went through, and they've tricked you and I into not talking to our kids. Man, I can't talk to that boy crazy. That's your crazy boy. You can talk to him. Just like you figured out how to make him sit down and eat, you can make him sit down and listen and find ways to engage him. Not browbeat him, but talk to people that will talk you into, this is how you ought to address this. It's very important before we lose everything that we did gain, because they're trying to take it all back. There is no two ways about that. And guess what? Trump knows it. He can look at us and assess, are we sleep or woke? Let's take a break. More of you on the phones, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and align with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Come on.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. Yes, sir. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. Yeah. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. Hey, what's up? They're doing, thank you. They're doing What's on Your Mind? Yeah. All right, then, you got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got to tell Reverend Bird to read Daniel 5th chapter. I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people, and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announcing today, I wish Obama had announced here. Because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history. That I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
Don't take it back.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't have worked. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary McLeod Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first and we'll be last. We know who we are. Absolutely. Well, let me know I'm on the next plane as soon as you holler. You know, when Ben Crump called, I don't even question it. I just head to the airport and get the details on the way.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. Keeping it real. It's XL Friday. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You live, sir. You got Williams. You live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It's XL Friday. Whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind. And let me say, I really hope we spend time this year breaking down the young folks, whether they're in your family or your neighborhood or your church or your social club, our history. Because the way people rule
is by keeping the masses ignorant. And they keep even the white masses ignorant. And sometimes you just have to stop and not assume people know what they don't know. And they propagate it. You know, the other thing I think that we do not sometimes understand, they've convinced a lot of white right-wingers on stuff that's crazy, that you and I know is crazy, but they don't know it's crazy.
Rev, you there?
Because it's not being counted. I have two guys or ladies, I don't know, I haven't checked it, that always get on the message board that really think I owe some taxes. Like I'm on radio every day, TV on my show every week, and the IRS don't know where I am. Obviously, 12 years ago they said we needed to audit and do taxes. That was settled then. Otherwise, I wouldn't be out here. But they're so peppered with ignorance that they believe that. Another one, just only about two. Another one talk about a case 40 years ago, Tawana Brawley. Yes, I believe Tawana Brawley, she and her mother said she had been violated. But they support Trump, who was convicted in court of sexual assault. So you're dealing with ignorance. And I don't even answer when they come on the message board because it's ignorant, but I'm using them as an example of rampant ignorance. 40-year-old case, but you don't know Trump that was convicted 2-3 years ago. Convicted. Ain't nobody accused me of sexual assault and convicted me. Convicted. I owe tax from 12 years ago, so I'm making all of this with my radio show and TV show, and IRS don't see me, but you do. Ignorant. We join as we are every Friday, and we're doing it this year as well. 2026, first Friday of the new year. We're joined by the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church of Detroit, Michigan, and the head of National Expansion, Michigan State Chair of National Action Network, the Reverend Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend? Happy New Year. I don't hear Williams. Something wrong with the tech. Somebody tell me something. I don't hear Williams. Now I'm hearing
Rev.
music. Yes.
Hey, Rev.
Yes.
Rev.
Yes.
Yes. Something's wrong with
Yes.
Hold on, sir. Something is going on with your accent.
Keep it real.
Hey, Rev, I'm gonna call you.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter
I'm
who
your
never
host,
forgot
Reverend
where
Al
he
Sharpton.
came from
And we had
how
a
he
little
got there.
technical difficulty that we had to change up. I think we got it straight. I'll talk about these one or
Yes,
two
we've come a long way.
that get online. But let me bring in, as I do every Friday, and we're continuing, of course, into the new year. Our Friday co-host, the last hour of Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton, the Reverend Charles Williams II, who is the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church of Detroit, Michigan, head of national expansion and Detroit chapter, and Michigan State Chairman of National Action Network, Reverend Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend? Can Reverend hear me? Or are we still having difficulty there? I don't hear nobody.
Nobody.
All right, let's
let me go to the phone.
Because
I don't hear him, and I don't want to keep our audience like what's going on. Let's go to my H. Boone Coon in Chicago on the west side. He says the best side. Frank, brother Frank, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on January 2nd of this new year.
As always, my good brother, Happy New Year's to you and everyone when they come on. And to the Keep It Real family, same thing, your adopted family. You see, Red, when I say adopted family, you didn't adopt us, we adopted you. Okay? So you do understand that, right?
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be adopted.
Can you hear me? Listen, Reverend Allen, you know I always start the first of the year off with my pet peeve. I think it's very important. My first XL is always about the structure of our family. And this is zero in. I'm talking to us black men. Okay? Just like the politics that we're dealing with, even at this crucial and vital time are very important. So is taking back the structure of our family, so it is structured the way God ordains to be. Our community start falling apart when we step back and allow the structure of our family get away from what God ordained it to be. Okay, this started as we coming through after 1960. I refuse to let us drop the ball the way those
I got Reverend Williams
and didn't educate themselves and us on how do you keep from losing custody of your children and your relationships when you have done nothing wrong. What has happened to us and our family structure is pure evil, and it ties along just exactly what Reverend I was just speaking talking about, and talking about the education of one another in our family. Well, it's hard to do that if you're a community infested with broken homes and baby kids. Them stepdaddies don't give a rat's toot about you being educated. A whole lot of them don't. Some of them do, don't get me wrong, but a whole lot of them don't. Mine didn't. And a lot of us education and a lot of our teaching comes down through the family structures. Other communities have this because they are the complete opposite of ours. They have way more unbroken homes and the same father children versus broken homes and baby kids. Multiple babies, multiple daddies. These are baby kids. And this is what's killing our community. What is the result of it? This is why we have young lads and boys up there strung out on drugs and crime and violence. Just why we have right to this day young ladies and girls out there bent all the way over with their legs spread apart, bouncing their butts up and down the air. Biological father is home. You take the father out the house, keep the father from the children. This is the end result. These people know exactly what they're doing. I'm going to go quick in this last part because I'm going to conclude with this. We already know how to protect ourselves from a female that we're not married to from losing custody of children to her when you've done it wrong. Stop impregnating these females out of wedlock. I educated my sons. It works. Now, real quick, protect yourself when you're married to a female. Well, you got to do it before you say I do. Understand this. Anyone can have a legal document drawn up. Anyone. And this legal document must be signed by both you and her. And believe it or not, it protects her and you. Anyone, if anyone of y'all decide that you don't want to be married anymore, and your significant other has not done anything wrong, and there are children involved, the one who did not want to be married anymore is the one that loses custody of the children. Cut and dry, simple as that. She won't sign it, don't marry her. Educate our young lads and boys about this and show them what happens when you don't do this. If she won't sign it, do not marry her, and whatever you do not impregnate her. You lost your child to a female when you done nothing wrong. You don't blame her. You don't attack her. You don't kill her. You ain't got no one to blame but yourself because you did protect yourself from it. What is the wrong that you can do that can cost you the children and a divorce? Well, simple. You can lay it out. I have not violated any medical vows. I haven't been physically abusive. I don't have a drug and or alcohol problem and not getting help. Well, this can cost me. If I don't do that, then Your Honor, according to this agreement right here, she don't want to be married more than, or he don't want to be married more than I keep custody of the children. I can go a little bit further, but I'm going to respect time. Y'all feel where I'm coming from. Young men, us men.
Because I got a couple people on text on our message board. Because there are different experiences with different people. Like Ariane Dennis said, "You are offensive. I'm a single mother and their father, and I separated, but he sees kids, and I am not what you are saying. We are not a broken home, but a wholly good home." How do you respond to people that?
Spiritually, according to God, you are a broken home. According to God, the seed of the Father is to remain with the Father. Now, if he's a no good father, I'm not talking about those who are no good, who done wrong. And I'm not saying that every broken home raised bad children. So please don't get offended, man. We got some good moms out there, you know what I'm saying, who had other help that helped guide the children along. But the overwhelming vast majority of how does she's explained then why are we in a community that's infested with way more broken homes and baby kids than unbroken homes and same father? You're a broken home because God said you're broken. The seed of the Father is to remain with the Father. Ask any Muslim that, ask any Christian that. Okay? A lot of us have lost our children after we took away from the Father. If you analyze it, that child would still be alive if they had went on what God said, like Trayvon Martin. Him and that guy who shot him down in Florida, Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, who shot him. Well, this young lad was over there being his biological father, which he should have been living with. According to God, they would have known each other. I can keep going on and on and on. I do not mean to defend anyone. Barack Obama, mom raised the president of the United States of America because she was wise enough not to move another man into their household that could come between her and her son. There are such, but please don't get offended. I can break it all down. So
I just wanted to read her side. And I came out of a single parent home. My father left. My mother was a great woman. And you're right, Frank. It's not everybody that should be cast in the same light. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keep it real. Sharpton. Williams. Be right back.
We have a Sharpton Friday. So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We would go, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
The two people that most influenced my life are from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about it in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him and pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, you know that my great grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they gotta open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent.
Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. I think we got our technical glitch together. Reverend Charles Williams is with me. Reverend Williams, how you doing today? Happy New Year.
Well, very happy New Year to you, and a good old what up, though, from Detroit. Rev, you know, so much we got planned for next year. Here in Michigan, we'll see for the first time in a very long time. Actually, I think the first time in Michigan history, we'll be electing a new U.S. Senator as well as a new U.S. Governor. A lot of work to be done. Midterms are abound, guys. We are headed into a time where we have the ability to make a change. We have the ability to make a difference in 2026. We have the power in our hand to change the tide of the United States House. We got to get into black communities. We got to get into white communities. We got to get into communities where our vote is and can make a little difference to turn the tide in the U.S. House and turn the tide in the U.S. Senate. And that is by utilizing the power of what we have as our vote. They're going to do everything they possibly can, as you well know. And I heard you talk about it a little bit on the Revies. The Justice Department ain't the Justice Department that we all know, even from the Bush administration, even from the Reagan administration. It's a whole different animal. And that means we're going to have to make sure that whatever happens in these elections, that the results are undeniable in Georgia and North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, and places where we can, Texas, and places where we can make a difference in these elections. So I tell folks, hey, this is the time to decide to be a part of the movement. We can complain and we can be angry and we could armchair activists and everything else we want. But if we're not getting out there knocking on the doors and dragging our friends, relatives, and our neighbors out and say, this is the time to make a difference, and we're doing nothing but, in the words of James Brown, talking loud and saying nothing. Join us, the National Action Network, nationalactionnetwork.net, and sign up, be a part of the movement. We got chapters all over the country. It's going to work, and we want you to be a part of that work with us.
All right, let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Monisha in Charlotte. Monisha, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Williams.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Reverend. Happy 2026 to you and the Rev.
Thank you.
We need to talk about Donald Trump putting his name on the Kennedy Center. I mean, this is outrageous. It is mad funny to me that the media don't take time to talk about this. This is a big issue to a lot of people because now that center is losing money. And a lot of people that have performed at the Kennedy Center, a lot of people say they're canceling because this buffoon want to put his name on things. People, we have got to get out here and vote. Vote, vote, vote. Your votes count. All this nonsense about, what about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris just, listen to me. Listen to me. Get out there and vote. Let your voice be heard. We have an opportunity to do the right thing, to put the right people in these positions, and to impeach the President of the United States and to impeach his crazy cabinet members. Listen to me well. Get out there and vote, and we can change the House, the Senate, and we can even change where we are in this country. Thank you for taking my call, Will.
Well, thank you for calling. And let me say something. She hit an issue. I think I addressed it, if not yesterday, on the exact New Year's Day earlier in the week. I absolutely agree with her about the desecrating the Kennedy Center in Washington. Because it was named after John Kennedy because of what he did as president for the arts, and he was martyred. He was killed as president, and it was a great honor for what he had done in the arts. Killed at the time he was doing that. Donald Trump has not done anything for the arts. I mean, it's just put my name on everything. And I remember the Kennedy honors until last year was an honor like getting a Emmy or getting an Oscar or something of the sort, a Tony. I remember in 2003, James Brown got one of the Kennedy honors, and he had me write the notes in his in the program book, and had me come sit in the box with him up there next to President Bush and Secretary of State at the time, Colin Powell. I remember coming back when Obama was president. He invited me to sit in the president's box. So I know the honor of it. I'm not just bragging. I'm just saying I know the honor that people looked at the Kennedy Center. All of that has been ripped down by Donald Trump. Just all of it. Now it's a who's president and who's politics and do you like Trump? And some things ought to be above petty politics. Because, again, he won't be president but 3 more years. I don't care how much he hallucinates that he can change the law. And the way they are talking around now in the media that he's not well, I don't wish nothing bad on him, but he won't be there more than 3 years. And they're going to change it back. And we should not have iconic cultural spots become part of a ping pong ball because of the ego and narcissism of one president.
Well, you have to admit, Rev, he has put on one of the greatest shows on earth.
Yeah, for people that like reality shows, he ought to be in one of these housewives shows. You know, a lady asked me the other day, Reverend, about did I ever watch The Housewife of this wife? I don't watch none of that stuff. And maybe I should, because you got to be in charge of the culture. But, I watched half a show one day, and I just can't understand what people are looking at. Just people sitting there arguing and cussing at each other. I don't find that entertaining. Maybe something wrong with me. But I just don't get that. I just don't get that. I spent most of my life trying to get away from that. Now I'm going to pay for it to see it on TV.
You got that right, Rev. Right on.
Let's go to Al in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Can we go to Al?
No, let's go to break.
All right, let's go to break, and we'll come right back to Al. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
$5,000. Extremely important about the funding, but I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history, and you can't teach certain other histories, and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. No justice! No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We're gonna shine and the shade. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
King, Dr. Richardson, most of all, let me thank Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us all here together today. The Urban Action Network. I am proud to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. But I am mindful that I wouldn't be here if it had not been for Reverend Al Sharpton running for president, and Carol Moseley Brown running for president, and Jesse Jackson running for president, and Shirley Chisholm running for president. They paved the way, and I stand on their shoulders.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
I celebrate the day you were born. You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
For over 3 decades, the National Action Network has stood on the front lines for our communities,
fighting for justice, lifting up the voiceless, and showing up where it matters most. Presidents, world leaders, and global changemakers have all testified to Reverend Al Sharpton's impact and National Action Network legacy of good trouble in the fight for equality. This holiday season, our commitment grows even stronger. We're expanding food distributions, toy drives, and direct support for families who need us now more than ever. Stop right now and join the movement.
You're live.
Keepin' it real. Keepin' it real. Keepin' it real. Keepin' it real.
I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It is XL Friday. Reverend Charles Williams is our co-host. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. And we are, over the weekend, I'm going to have on Politics Nation, I'm going to have the Congresswoman from Wisconsin, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have Congresswoman, state of Washington. Both of them vital in what's going on in terms of the ACA, and I'm talking about Gwen Moore and Strickland from Washington, with the ACA running out, as well as what's going on with the Epstein files. Make sure you watch Politics Nation. We'll have on the black woman that won the state legislative season in Iowa. Never happened like that before. We have on a lot happening this weekend on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly MSNBC. And then you that in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me in the morning. Saturday Action Rally. I'm giving my New Year's message. You need to be in the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue at 9 to 11. I'll be looking for you. And you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television. Reverend Williams, what's going on in Detroit National Action Network? Well, that's a lot to deal with, Reverend. A lot to deal with. You all know that we yesterday, inaugurated and swore in our first African-American woman mayor of the city of Detroit. Certainly we're proud of her, and certainly we're thankful and grateful to the Reverend Horace Sheffield for gracing us with his great daughter, Mary Sheffield, who's the mayor. We're going to talk about the agenda for the neighborhoods and for the community for 2026. And then, of course, we'll be launching our voter education campaign, not just across Detroit, but across Michigan and the Midwest. Of course, we want to have all of our Midwest chapters involved and engaged and prepared to get those votes out. So join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, 6100 14th Street. You don't want to miss it.
All right, let's go to the phone. Try to get a few people in before we have to go. Let's go to Al in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Al?
Hello? Hey.
Yes, you're on there.
Hey, Reverend Nail. No, this is Derek from Houston. Hey, Reverend, I want to talk about separating the wheat and the tariff for this year in 2026, because I'm finding as one who started a men's group, Reverend, that you have a lot of people who you invite into the group, and they just sit there and just be stagnated, and they don't do nothing. So what I'm doing, I'm going to start dropping those who are not doing anything and only dealing with the ones who are. Because if you know, Reverend, when you study nature, you see how bees in their colonies do. If a bee die within that colony, they would go fly that bee, the dead bee away, drop him wherever they need to drop him out, because they want to make sure that life is always in the colony. So I propose all the dead weight, just like the ones that sit there and message you. Tawana Brothers way back in the 80s. What the hell are you doing messaging you, bothering you with that in 2022?
Yeah, well, you got crazy people, but thank you for your call. And I agree with you. There's a scripture in the Bible where God told Gideon he had too many people to go to war to fight against the enemy. Make them go down and lap water like a dog, and those that lap water, take them with you, and those that don't, send them back. And why would he give them that kind of test? Because people that are obedient and do things that look embarrassing don't care about themselves. They care about the cause, about winning, and that's in the Bible. That's Gideon. So you're right. I don't want no folks around me that ain't up for the fight, or that's just dead weight. Let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, to one of the important, significant, and I think unparalleled activists in the country. She is the president of the Greater Cleveland Chapter National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy.
Happy New Year to our president and founder, none other than the Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton, and as well to our Midwest Region Director, where the Midwest is the best, Reverend Charles Williams II. Now, I know the bishop. The bishop has a lot to say, so let me get mine out of the way right quick. The 23rd Annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service will be held on Monday, January 19th. Save the date, save the date, save the date. It is a day of service. We will have over 215 young students in attendance. Reverend Dr. Otis Moss Jr. is the keynote speaker. Please call us at 374-0913-216-374. 0913. We are the only SCLC in the state of Ohio still active, ran by none other than the mule himself, Bishop Dr. E.T. Cavanagh. Come on, mule.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you, Reverend.
Never in the history of this democratic republic have we witnessed a president in the Oval Office that has been more concerned with his own selfish, narcissistic self than about the welfare and well-being of the people he was elected to serve. High office and public service are the privileges granted to distinguished individuals who have a sincere desire to help others and to not themselves and their own personal, private, family interests. It is just the opposite and the antithesis with this occupant and convicted felon Donald J. Trump. Of the 30,000 lies that he has told, one of the first lies was the former that former President Barack Obama was not an American citizen. The truth with himself is that for 10 long years, he was the best friend of sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, who raped and sexually assaulted young girls as young as 11 years of age. As President of the United States of America, he spends almost all his time on the golf course that he does at the White House. The last time I checked, in this first 100 years in office, he has spent over a quarter of those days golfing. Golfing every 4 days is what he was elected to do. Heaven help us. The worst part of that deal is that he has spent well over $30 million of taxpayers' money. Aside from this chicanery, his multi-millionaire and billionaire friends pay him a cool million or more to hobnob with his and his family. A cool $500,000 membership fee. You can wheel and deal with him, smooth with the people wheeling and dealing within his administration. In fact, the executive branch is an invite-only club for insiders, foreign investors, millionaires and billionaires to directly line his pockets, the pockets of his family. All of these deals that this convicted felon Donald Trump engages, he gets rich and richer, and the citizens get screwed over and over again. It's obvious to anyone who looks, but it bears repeating that he does not care about you. He does not care about making your life better. He does not care about prices soaring or that home ownership seems impossible. He doesn't care if you have to choose between rent or groceries, let alone whether you will be able to take a vacation that you have been dreaming of. This man doesn't give a care if the health care you rely on gets cut. Your local Social Security office closes down. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if this ill-advised tariffs that he imposes taxes on American citizens. If it helps pay for his millionaire tax cut, it's all the same to him. He does not care. This wannabe dictator, this wannabe king, cares about one thing, and that one thing is his own doggone self. He lives to make his family richer, to make his rich friend richer. He will undoubtedly make more money in the next 4 years than he has made in his entire life. In fact, he already has. There is no end to the damage that this Nazi-loving, obvious racist, this white supremacist, bigoted psychopath will heap on democracy, and especially on black people and people of color. The black knuckleheads who voted for this demon need to drop your head in shame for the disaster you have perpetrated on people of color. Ask the good Lord for forgiveness and help us rid this nation and this world of this despicable, this corrupt, this egregious and disgusted, less than human being. Get out there and vote. November 6th, we're going to change the destiny of this country. Thank you, Doctor.
We love you, President. Ditto.
Absolutely. We needed that to send us off into the new year, and nobody could do it better than this wise prophetic voice of Bishop E.T. Cavanis. And he chairs the National Action Network chapter. He's the chair of the board, and Marcia McCoy is the president. And he also chairs SCLC, and we are National Action Network 35 years old this year, but we're a child of SCLC. I started as SCLC youth director, Operation Breadbasket in New York. It's all about keeping the movement going. All of us don't come from the same tribe, but we all come from the same African roots. And you may be NAACP, I may be National Action Network, somebody may be with the Nationalists. All of us are fighting in our way and our tradition to empower ourselves and free ourselves and to raise our children to be equal, not just free, but equal access to opportunities, equal access to capital, equal access to education. And we all need to fight in our way rather than debate about whose way is the best way. Debate about how you can do better at whichever way you choose, as long as we're getting tangible results. That's why I've said that the theme this year is let's straighten out tricks in 26. Let me thank all of you that called in and listened in. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams. Let me thank you that are listening and hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody that Reverend Al told you personally. Keep it real. Keep it real.